You know, the Edmonton Oilers have had a really good season this season. I mean, well, they had a great season last year. I don't care what anybody says, even though they didn't win the cup, like, that is still a really successful season in my opinion, man. Making it all the way there, like, yes, I understand the further that you make it in the Stanley Cup playoffs, the more your heart is going to break if you don't win it. Most teams don't win it. It's, you know, hockey is a game that is a game of bounces. It's a game of luck, but they went all the way there. I give them a ton of credit, and they've been unbelievable this year. They're like number one in the Pacific. Actually, I believe that if they win tonight with the Red Wings, they will be 2 points up, I think, and they will be number one in the Pacific. Again, enjoy it, Oilers fans. Your team is really good. But it had me thinking, what exactly do the Edmonton Oilers need on their roster? So I kind of graded it like this. Number one, I actually, and this is something that's outside the box. I know most people say defenseman number one. I actually disagree with that because I believe it's goaltending. Now, the reason that I believe it's goaltending is because goaltending can be the number one thing that can destroy your playoff chances, okay? I'm telling you, if you don't have goaltending, you are done. You need a goalie to perform. You don't want a pumpkin in there. And I am a little bit worried about their goalie depth. Like, I'm not hating on Skinner. Like, he deserves a lot of respect, and he brought them all the way to the dance, right? You got to respect that. And listen, I know there's going to be people in the comments that are going to point at Calvin Pickard. He's been pretty good. He's got a .901 save percent average. He's been there. He's not been bad. The question is, though, do you trust him to be a backup in the NHL playoffs? I don't. I just really don't. Honestly, so that's number one to me. Number two is a defenseman. And then number three would be forwards. Forwards are so important. Depth forwards are so unbelievably important. So, what is that leading us to? We know that Brandon Saad has just been bought out by the St. Louis Blues. Now, there's a couple of reasons why this might make sense. Let's remember, there's a connection there between Bowman and him, and he may very well be able to convince him to go to the Edmonton Oilers. I really think that, I'm not necessarily sure if this is the Oilers' number one need, but let's remember, they don't have to give up assets for this player. And the fact that you don't have to give up assets is everything. It's everything. You want to save your assets, so this actually might make a lot of logical sense. You know, Frank Cervelli looked at it as, well, they don't really need that number one thing. They don't need a forward as their number one thing. I actually agree with Cervelli here, but I'm going to disagree with him because, listen, they're not giving up any assets. He's a UFA now. You don't have to give anything up. Yes, you should be all over this. Now, it depends on the cost. I do think that you can have the possibility to convince him to sign for a low cost, right? It's not like the Blues have been a world-beating team. He obviously wants to win. The Oilers are number one in the Pacific Division. They almost won the Cup last year. Why the heck wouldn't players want to go there? Trust, you have no idea how much players just want to win. A lot of players are just obsessed with winning, and they just want to play for a good team. Right now, you could argue that maybe if the Oilers roster is all healthy, he might not even get that much playing time. Although he's only 32 years old, right? Like, so he could probably still feasibly play. And this could be a way to help the Oilers' forward depth without giving up assets. Let's remember, because I want the Oilers to concentrate spending their assets at the deadline to something that makes sense for them. In terms of, again, my number one is goalie. I know a lot of people are going to jump in the comments and say defenseman. That's fine if that's your opinion. I also agree with you. But I think they have to concentrate their assets right there. If you can fix some of your forward depth without giving up assets, that is the number one. It is a smart management move. I'm going to tell you right now, my pick for the Cup this year, if the Oilers make a couple of smart moves at the deadline, my pick for the Cup this year is going to be Edmonton. They made it that far. I think McDavid and Draisaitl are frothing at the mouth, especially McDavid. That guy is a friggin' animal, and I'm telling you right now, he's frothing at the mouth to get back in the playoffs. That guy was so heartbroken, so I'm telling you right now, if they can get more depth in goal, if they can get a proper defenseman, if they can tweak their forward depth a little bit, I'm telling you right now, this team is going to win the cup. Well, it's hockey, so it's kind of a random sport. There's no way for me to guarantee that. I get it, but it's just that's my cup pick 100%. And Canada would finally have a Stanley Cup for the first time in a long time. Now, the first question that I'm going to be asked is, well, what exactly would a Brandon Saad contract look like? From the St. Louis Blues, he's getting paid about 4.5. We know that ain't happening. He ain't getting 4.5. And I mean, he's certainly not been doing that well for the St. Louis Blues. I just think he still has gas left in the tank. I do think that the Oilers should be a little bit stringent with him, and what I mean by that is don't just sign him to whatever. You know, I'm actually surprised that the Oilers gave John Klingberg, I think they gave him 1.7 or something like that. When I saw that, I was like, yeesh. I would not have given him that, and I really want the Oilers to get this player, or a Canadian team. I want a Canadian team that's competitive to get him. You could even convince me that maybe the Jets or the Leafs might be interested in a player like that, a team that Leafs especially struggle with depth. I don't think the Leafs are as good as the Oilers, albeit the Leafs are a pretty good team. But the question of the video, if you were managing your hockey team, what offer would you give Brandon Saad to convince him to sign with your hockey club, right? Would you just say, hey, we're a competitive organization, this is it, we're going to give you a league minimum contract, come win a Stanley Cup with us? Would you entice him with a little bit more money to try to get the player? How exactly would it go for you? Anyways, I am going to leave the video there. If you can make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it, guys, and make sure to have a great day. Goodbye, guys.